Hello everybody, it's Marissa. I just want to do a quick video because our discussion today at 4 o'clock is kind of going to take us back to agriculture. And it's pretty amazing when you start getting back to the land, when you start getting back to the earth and growing things and the soil and watching things grow. It really does make the Bible come alive. And I just want to show you a few things that we have, my husband and I have started in our garden that have, we've decided to add to our garden that are actually pretty easy, and you can grow them from things that are in your kitchen that you would probably be throwing away. And I want to encourage you to possibly think about growing some things yourselves because, it's just one of those things. Not only is it therapeutic, not only is it very enjoyable to watch things grow, and especially once you harvest it, then obviously it's going to be very satisfying. But the more you learn these things, like I said, it really does make the Bible come more alive, and the things that Yeshua said come alive more than just a little bit more, is what I'm trying to say. It's going to make it come alive more, just a little bit more, and you're going to have just a little bit more understanding and grasping of what he was really trying, the messages he was really trying to convey. But I want to show you a few things because I just want to encourage you and tell you that it's so easy to grow most everything that I'm going to show you. And like I said, our teaching or our study today, it's probably going to be in 3 parts. It's going to be in about an hour at 4 o'clock. We're going to go back to agriculture, and you better put your boots on and your gloves on and your agricultural thinking cap on, because it's going to be very deeply seeped in going back to the land and going back to everything having to do with agriculture and biology. It's not going to get like too scientific or anything, but it's going to connect us to the Word through this agricultural means. So, and of course, many of you know we're living pretty much in the last days. I don't know how much further into the last days we're gonna need to get. That's left in God's timing. But it's important to know these things. It's important to know how to grow anything. I mean, really, I would venture to say that most of us probably don't know how to grow much of anything at all, much less multiple different crops. And so I'm just going to take you through our garden that we've started in hopes that you will just start growing at least 1 or 2 things on your own, and then maybe you can take it from there and decide how much room you have and what you're capable of doing and handling at this time of your life. But let me go ahead and turn this around so that you can I'm going to walk you through a few things here. Okay, so I'm going to start here because this is probably the easiest thing you could ever put in your garden and grow yourself. This is just green onion, okay? And you can literally, like, this was dying in my refrigerator, and I stuck it in the ground, and now it's grown back, and it's very, very full. And this will grow so easily, and this will grow all year round. Green onions, okay? So if you use green onion for anything, it's very easy to grow. You can buy it in the store, and whatever you have left over, just stick it in the ground and it will grow. It will grow back. So the next thing I'm going to show you, this is not necessarily something that you have to do, but I just had a seed from, let me see if you can see it. I just had a seed from a grapefruit. And this is about 1.5 years old, but this is a grapefruit tree that I grew out of a seed that was in my grapefruit. I just stuck it in some soil, I keep it fertilized, and I have it in this large bin here. But this is a grapefruit tree, and listen, you got to start somewhere, because Fruit trees take a very, very, very long time to grow, so you better start now. Why not? And you can just save the seeds that are in any fruit. Any fruit that you, and it depends on where you live. It definitely depends on where you live. I live in Florida, so citrus is very tolerable down here and is naturally grown in my area. So so that's something to consider wherever you're living. Something that's grown from fruit. This is a cherry tomato plant that we thought was dying back, but I fertilized it with some bone meal and now it's coming back, and it's actually, we've harvested a whole lot of cherry tomatoes off of here, but if you can see here, we have new cherry tomatoes forming here, and we have a lot of blooms, so we're going to have some more growing as well. Alright, let me take you here to our papaya plants, which again, I grew from seeds out of a papaya. So here's a papaya plant here. These are going to grow into trees. Here's another one here. You just have to keep them watered in the sun, keep them fertilized. But I grew it right out of a seed that was in a papaya that I ate. Alright, let me take you over here. We have some peppers growing. These are one of the easiest things that you could ever grow, and you can practically grow them all year round. Here in Florida, I don't know about where you live, but in Florida you can grow these pretty much all year round. Peppers, these are like green peppers, red peppers. We have growing here. We do have some still growing on the stalk. This is a whole this is a whole bed of cherry tomatoes that I harvested from that tomato plant over there. So when I harvested the cherry tomatoes, I took the seeds out and then I threw them in this bin here so that we'll have them growing again. I'm trying to make it so that we have an endless supply. Over here, this is a cabbage patch. This whole patch here is of cabbage. And those I did grow from seed. Very easy to grow, but this is a wintertime plant. So we're hoping to have a good amount of cabbage this winter. Okay. This I definitely want to show you because this is super easy. See this here? This is celery. Okay. This is celery that I grew from celery that I was eating. So if you have a celery plant, or if you have a celery stalk that you bought to eat, you just cut off the very bottom of it and you keep it in water. The very bottom of it you're going to keep in water for about 2 weeks until you start to get like, you'll start to get like two little and this one will start to fill out like this one, and eventually we'll be able to harvest it. Okay, so I have planted some more peppers just because here in Florida they'll grow pretty much any time. All of this here is Bib lettuce. It's a very soft lettuce. Another winter plant is some Bib lettuce. Over here, these are all carrots. These I did grow from seed. The Bib lettuce I did grow from seed as well. So it grows very easily. You just throw them in a line and they'll grow together very nicely. This is like I said, these are carrots, and what I did was I planted a whole row of carrots, and then a couple weeks later I planted another row of carrots so that I can harvest them at different times. And then this row here, this entire row here is beets, and I did the same thing. A couple weeks later I planted another row of beets. These are very good hardy cold weather plants. We have some spinach growing over here, and then all of those tomato plants right there, that's a different kind of tomato. That's a larger tomato, and I literally got those out of a large tomato that I got, an organic tomato, and I just saved the seeds. You just take the seeds out, wash them, dry them, and then they grow very easily. And we try to have tomatoes all year long. I would encourage you, if you're gonna go big, to plant as many tomatoes as you can, as often as you can. All right, let me take you over here to our other bed. Oh, let me show you this really quick. This is our pineapple patch. As you can see, this pineapple plant is very well established. It's about 1.5 to 2 years old. Save the top of your pineapple when you buy a pineapple at the store. All of these were tops of pineapples that I had eaten, and if you twist the top off and plant it in the ground, it will regrow. But pineapples, you have to grow a lot of pineapples because it will produce one pineapple and then that's it. But as you can see, we have this one that's very large. This one's probably going to produce a pineapple sometime in this new year. And then that's a new one. This one's been here for a little while, and then this one's trying to grow as well. But that's our pineapple patch. Like I said, pineapples, you can eat them and then regrow them from the top. We have a whole bed here. This is our flower bed to hopefully attract as many bees and butterflies as we possibly can. All right, let me show you this large raised bed we have here. Now this is another row of cabbage that is much bigger because it was more established. Again, you want to try to grow things or plant things and then plant the same thing maybe like a couple weeks later, so that you're harvesting these things, these vegetables, at different times of the month. You don't want to harvest everything at the same time, otherwise you're going to have to eat it all at the same time. But this is all cabbage. These are all broccoli. And okay, this I definitely want you to pay attention to, because this is another one of those things that is very, very, very easy to do. And these we grew by seed. But if you can see this here, at the bottom where the root is, and cover it in dirt in the ground, it will regrow. It's going to take about 3 months, but if you do that every time you use an onion, you're going to be harvesting onion constantly in the future. So this is going to grow a lot of greens, which actually you can use the green part of the onion, but underneath it's going to grow another bulb. So this is a yellow onion. This is a red onion. Okay. And as you'll see here, I have another onion that grew. This is a yellow onion as well. I have a few eggplants. I'm trying to grow eggplant here. And if you look back here, take note of this, because this is something else that you can do that is very, very, very easy to do. If you want to grow garlic, you just take one clove. I would use the largest clove out of the clove that you buy from the store, because that's going to determine how big your garlic plant is going to be. You just throw it in the ground and it's going to regrow. Okay, and if you'll see over here, I have another garlic plant growing from one garlic clove. This is going to grow pretty tall. When I say tall, that's probably like 2 feet. But the greenery is going to get pretty long. And then once this greenery turns brown, and pretty much the whole greenery starts turning brown, you'll know that it's time to harvest your garlic. A couple other things. Here is a whole patch of cilantro. We use a lot of cilantro. Cilantro is not only delicious, but it's very cleansing. Over here we have a whole patch of sweet basil. Very easy to grow. And then over here is the romaine that's growing. We have quite a bit romaine lettuce that's growing over here. And some spinach. I'm really trying to grow some spinach. This side of the bed isn't doing too well because it's not getting as much sun, but it's trying. And again, over here, I throw as many garlic as I can into the ground, because this is going to keep a continuous supply of garlic, if you do it every so often, the garlic, the onion, you'll have a continuous supply of garlic and onion, and you'll never have to buy garlic and onion ever again. I want to show you one more thing before I finish. I want to show you one more thing over here before I finish. So, you know those potatoes that, hold on, let me turn this around. You know those potatoes that you have in your kitchen that grow spuds or eyeballs on them, and then you just end up throwing them out? Don't throw them out. Let them spud. Let your potatoes spud. I prefer red potatoes, but you can do this with any potato. Let them spud, throw them in the ground, they will start growing, and then you will have many, many, many more potatoes. Let me show you this. Okay, so we throw these in the ground, and now the potatoes are starting to grow these green leaves here. See, they're coming out of the ground, and underneath the ground, see, here's another patch here. You'll see them start to sprout out of the ground, and they will grow these green leaves, which are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then eventually under the ground you're going to have many, many more potatoes. And like I said, these are red potatoes, but you can use whatever potato you prefer. And it's just something that I don't know, I feel is a little bit necessary for right now. I feel it's important to have skills that get you just a little bit more independent and a little bit more self-sufficient. And all of this is pretty easy. I mean, most of us, if you cook anything, use a garlic, use an onion, use a potato, and whatever you can't grow from your kitchen, you can just buy the seeds. But you do have to make sure you water, you do have to make sure that you're fertilizing. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, my preference on fertilizer is going to be like fish emulsion, worm castings. So the bone meal and the blood meal are very, 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 very rich. And so the bone meal is very rich in, and this is something that you want to try to remember. I don't want to go too much into detail, but to keep it very simple, plants that grow leaves, so lettuce and cabbage and broccoli and things that are growing, you're growing for the leaves, you want to give a lot of nitrogen. And so the blood meal is going to have nothing but nitrogen. It's going to be 100% nitrogen. Blood meal is something that you want to use to feed your plants that you're going to be harvesting for the leaves. Things that you're going to be harvesting for the fruit, you want to give a lot of phosphorus. But you want to start giving it a lot of phosphorus when it's time for the plant to start fruiting. This is going to cause your plant to produce more fruit. It's going to cause it to flower. So the bone meal is going to contain nothing but phosphorus. And then at times I give it like a time release fertilizer, and then there's other times I give it an organic vegetable fertilizer that has a little bit of the nitrogen, phosphorus, and the potassium. And yeah, you got to give it food. If you just stick it in the ground, it's not going to grow. Figure out what's, you know, right for your zone. I'm very fortunate that I live here in Florida, so we can pretty much grow almost anything all year round, with a few exceptions. And again, I'm doing this today, and I'm showing you these things because our discussion today at 4 o'clock is really, I'm trying to prep you into the mindset of agriculture and getting back to the land and getting back to the earth, the garden, getting back to the garden. Hopefully we're going back to the garden. And it really just kind of opens up your eyes a little bit and gives you a little bit of a deeper meaning of what Yeshua was saying, what your Bible says. Okay? Amen? God bless you guys. I hope this does something for you. I hope it just sparks a little bit of encouragement to just plant, even if it's just one thing. If you just stick one thing in the ground and watch it grow, it is very satisfying. And that's one more thing that you may not have to buy at the store. I'll see you at 4 o'clock. I think we got about 45 more minutes, and I hope you'll be ready for the discussion that we have at 4 o'clock.